momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and just work through each of the squares here and get everyone checked in. And so as I call your name, if you could just unmute, just want to make sure everyone's equipment's working properly. If you could tell me your name or confirm the name on the screen is accurate, and then tell me who you're representing here today. That would be great. So I'll start with Kat. Looks like Pete Meyer.
Yes, that is correct. And I am with Madisonville. I feel like I wear a lot of hats. Not sure which one is for today. So
sure. Well, so are you here on behalf of the Madisonville Community Council? Is that what you're saying?
The Development Corporation.
Got it. Okay. All right. Welcome. And is it Pep Meyer or Pete Meyer?
Pep Meyer.
Got it. All right.
Thank you.
Welcome. I see a Charlie Frank here.
Correct. Yes, here I'm representing both the Cincinnati Reds Community Fund and also our Community Makeover Partnership.
Okay. Welcome. Is it Osmary Contreras?
Yes, Osmary Contreras. I'm representing the Zoo, Cincinnati Zoo.
Right. We are all here for 5051 Anderson Place, correct? Okay, just double checking. Okay, Cincinnati Zoo. All right, welcome, Ms. Contreras. I have someone under DV that I'm asking to unmute now.
Yep.
Looks like
Yep. Dean Violetta, representing the zoo and the Reds Community Fund.
All right. Welcome, Dean.
Thank you.
I have someone under the name Lotus.
Actually, it's my own wife's account. But
sure.
My name's Kim Whitcoff, and I'm a resident right across the street from the school.
Okay, great. And if you could you tell me your first and last name again and spell it for me? Thanks.
It's Jim.
Got that.
Whitcoff, WITTKO, P as in Paul, F as in Frank.
Okay, got it. Welcome. I see April Applegate.
Hi, yeah, I am with TRA Design, and we are the ones who provided the drawings.
Applicants on the project?
Yes.
I think technically, yes. Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
I have another Lotus. Jim, is that someone else with you, or are you on two computers there?
I'm going to maybe on two. Hold on. Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah. If you could keep the one that you're on now, that you're talking on now, if at all possible. That seems to be working properly. In fact, I can remove the other one if you'd like. If that's easier.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Got it. All right. And I have a Matthew Ewing. Sorry, Mr. Ewing, having trouble hearing you. Might have a bad connection there.
Sorry, in the Reds Community Fund as well.
Okay, I heard Reds Community Fund there. Mr. Frank, are you with Mr. Ewing?
Yeah, we're partners on this community collaboration. Matthew's P&G, I'm with the Reds, but we work together on the makeover, as many of us do in this call.
Okay, are you both planning on providing testimony here today, or do you think, Mr. Frank, you'll be able to represent the interests of the community fund without his testimony? I'm asking because it looks like we're having technical difficulties with him, and it might be difficult. I'm wondering if I should troubleshoot that, or if you'll be able to participate.
No, we'll be able to manage it. Mr. Sturkey, my goal is to maybe just give you a sort of a broad overview of our intent, and ultimately lean on our team from the Cincinnati Zoo to help fill in some of the design gaps and answering the specific questions in regards to the plans after today.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Ewan, yeah, we're just having a little bit of trouble hearing you. It sounds like some connection issues. We're gonna proceed. We're gonna continue to go forward. But if you feel strongly that you would like to join and participate and be a part of this hearing, I would suggest maybe trying to use a different computer or maybe your cell phone, or if you're using your cell phone, to move into a different location so we have better reception. If you try to join through another computer, we will certainly let you in at that time. I see someone under Leslie's iPhone.
Yes, Leslie Bryson, B as in boy, RYSON, representing PNG.
All right, welcome. And Ms. Bryson, are you going to be providing any testimony here today?
I will not.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
On the applicant side, Ms. Applegate, are you anticipating anyone else joining us here today on the applicant owner side, or are you ready to proceed?
We are ready to proceed.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and do that. I need to read through our hearing script. This will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we will jump right into it. So this is the July 12th, 2023 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name again is David Sturkey. I'll be presiding over the hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH20230103. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. Excuse me. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. So it looks like here that we have quite a few people that are here to testify in support of this project or provide some context about this project. So really, I'll allow all of you to speak if you would like. You're not all obligated to speak. Really, one or all of you can speak. It's completely up to you. However you think will best give me the proper context and background on this project, and of course, why the requested zoning relief is appropriate. So however you all want to orient that presentation is completely up to you. I will then move out to Miss. I think our only member of the public here is Miss Pat Meyer, and allow her to provide any testimony as a member of the public. I will go to our someone I failed to introduce here, but Matt Lascheid, who is the zoning department plans examiner for the city of Cincinnati. He has prepared a staff report. I'll allow him to provide any testimony in addition to that staff report if he would like. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument that was been offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. I'll have some questions along the way. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties, as we've already seen, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly. To the extent there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, doing anything other than just strictly observing, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. If you know that you fall into that category, I'd like to collectively swear all of those people in right now. If you're not certain if you're going to testify, I can always swear you in later. But if you know now that you would like to provide some testimony, I'd ask you to take yourself off of mute, need everyone to raise their right hand, and to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay, great. Ms. Applegate, are you going to be providing any testimony here today?
No, I will not. I'm just observing.
Okay. Got it. All right. I think we're ready to proceed then. Who is going to be taking the lead here on the presentation?
Mr.
Frank, the floor is
Sturkey,
yours.
yeah, I'd be happy to get started. So the Community Makeover is a partnership that includes, among others, P&G, the Cincinnati Reds, the Cincinnati Zoo, Cincinnati Children's Hospital, Cincinnati Tool Bank, a handful of other organizations, GE, United Way. So it truly is a community collaboration. This began with P&G and the Reds Community Fund back in 2010. Our goal each year is to identify a Cincinnati neighborhood that is in need of partnership and some infusion of creativity and design and volunteer support. This year, for the first time, the project is taking place in Madisonville. So over the past, we've been everywhere from Winton Hills to Avondale, South Cumminsville, West End, Lower Price Hill, Roselawn, Evanston, and beyond. We are, as I mentioned, working in Madisonville this year at a number of different sites. The collaboration usually involves somewhere between 300 to 500 volunteers on the service day. That service day is coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow, Thursday, July 27th. So the timing of today is extremely important. And when you mentioned 2 weeks for decision, I think we're going to want to discuss that as well, because we have a lot of pre-work that is currently on hold pending the outcome of today's hearing. The work that we're doing is at 5 primary sites this year. It'll be at John P. Parker Elementary, which is why we're obviously on this call, Schroeder High School. It'll also happen at Madisonville Education Assistance Center, also referred to as MEET, at Bramble Park, and at the Madisonville Recreation Center. So 5 different sites will be activated again with, close to 400 volunteers working throughout the day on July 27th. The work of this project really doesn't have an agenda other than community good. The corporate partners and the business leaders, these iconic institutions that make up the roster of partners, this isn't a marketing objective. This isn't really a business objective. It's strictly community. 2 years ago, following the leadership of the Cincinnati Zoo, we were able to partner on the urban learning garden at Rockdale Academy School in Avondale, which was one of the more transformative projects we had the privilege of being a part of. It took roughly a 1 acre unused piece of land behind the school and turned it into an extraordinary horticultural and educational program that the zoo has dedicated full-time staff towards. So our hope is to complete similar projects. That one's unique because of its proximity to the campus, but to complete similar projects, and with our connection to the Madisonville community partners such as that, we're thrilled to be in Madisonville this year. John P. Parker, because of the size of the school and the opportunities there to benefit the elementary community there, is probably the biggest target of these 5 that I've mentioned in terms of both indoor and outdoor upgrades. The outdoor upgrades, just because of the unique zoning nature of the way the school lays out, and because of the investment of solar panels to help the power grid at the school, I think has raised a couple of flags, and those are the things that we're trying to identify today and to hopefully overcome. Again, unusual to previous years, we have had to put a halt on a lot of the contractor work that typically would be going on right now and would have been going on probably for the last couple of weeks. It's going to make our schedule a little bit tight leading up to this July 27th service day. And that schedule is already tight because we're going to want to get done with our work and out of the way, especially at John P. Parker and Schroeder ahead of the start of the Cincinnati Public Schools 23-24 calendar year. So again, our intent here is to make significant upgrades at the school, including outdoor gardens, outdoor educational space, outdoor play space, outdoor beautification, the work of which has been done in previous projects. To say that the zoo is an extraordinary leader in this process would be an understatement. I think they're recognized from a design and a horticultural standpoint to be one of the finest in the region. So we're blessed to have their talent and their interest in this project, and we want to work with them to do everything that we can to make sure that everything goes off without a hitch between today and July 27th. So that's the overview.
Okay.
Any questions so far?
Nope.
At this point, Dean, I think the handoff to you to maybe get into some of the specific elements that we're trying to accomplish there and some of the concerns over these tight timelines.
Yep. Thanks, Charlie. Thank you, David. And thank you, Matt. David, I'm not sure, are we going to be looking at any drawings today, or should I just try to describe the project, which I can do?
Yeah, so I have all the application materials
Very good.
here that I'm looking
Okay.
at on my end. If you have them on your screen, you're welcome to share your screen if you know how to do that.
Yeah.
If you'd like to walk us through them, or if you just like to point them out to me.
How about if we talk it through? It's not a very complicated site, actually.
Sure.
So as Charlie had mentioned, the Cincinnati Zoo has taken a design lead throughout some of our projects. I am a architect by trade, and I am responsible for all the master planning here at the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. So it's been an honor to work with Cincinnati Reds, P&G throughout the years. And basically my role is to listen to everybody, listen to the Reds, listen to P&G, and in this case, listen to JPP and work with their staff, understand their staff, and pretty much try to take their vision and their dreams and turn it into reality. And as Charlie had mentioned, there's a couple key components to this. One is the solar panels, which will provide a certain percentage of the school's electricity. One of the bigger areas, a few of the bigger areas, we're trying to create outdoor gathering spaces for the students so that the teachers can get the kids outside, make that connection with nature, make it look like a very naturalistic area, so that we will have several gathering spaces. Within those gathering spaces, we will have raised garden beds where the teachers can use those as examples on how to cultivate plants, plant the seeds and all that type of thing. So it's everything that we're doing is learning based. And then one of the last pieces that we will also incorporate is a nature-based play area. And because this is mostly a volunteer effort, we try to make these components relatively simple. So walking on a log or climbing across stumps or something like that. So very basic, but fun for the kids. And all of this was reviewed and vetted with the school. And again, they're, in my mind, our clients that we're working towards to achieve their goals. Does that help you with the vision at all? Or
Certainly, yeah.
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Sure. Could anyone discuss, and Ms. Patmeyer, I apologize if I didn't characterize you earlier or mischaracterize you earlier as not a part of this application. Are you with this group in support of this, or are you just providing a public perspective?
I guess both.
Okay.
So in my role as a board member for the Madisonville Community and Urban Redevelopment Corporation, we have been, kind of, like I said, or Charlie has mentioned, sort of a liaison to the community. And so was just here to kind of express our support as the board. We discussed this in the drawings at length, and is unanimous that we, based on, the global environmental literacy program at Parker, that all of these projects would be just overall just a win for the community and the kids.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for that. Can anyone talk to me more about so what I see that we're here for is conditional use, which is sort of standard anytime there's some change to the school or expansion of an existing school. You have to go through that conditional use review. I think that's more or less straightforward in this circumstance, but could anyone talk some more about the other thing is a variance for an accessory structure in a corner side yard. Can anyone talk some more about the specifics of what the accessory structures will be and the use? I mean, is it everything you mentioned earlier, Ms. Violet or Mr. Violetta, or is it just the solar panels or the structure with the solar panels? Can someone dig in some more on the details of that?
Yeah, April, are you, I know we have the solar panels, and the panels have a protective fence around them for protection. Is that the accessory use, April?
Yeah, I believe it's just the fences and the privacy. We call them privacy, but really it's more of just a chain link fence that I would consider the accessory structure.
Gotcha. And let me just ask our zoning department, can you be specific about the relief that's required here today for what
Sure.
structures?
So the zoning code only allows accessory structures to be in the rear yard. This property, technically by our zoning code definition, does not have a rear yard because there are streets all around it. So the corner side yard is what we would call the area that's in between the building and a street when it's not a front yard. So on the west side of the property here, where it goes along Med Pace, functionally it's a rear yard, but by zoning code definition, it's a corner side yard, and accessory structures are not permitted in a corner side yard. The reason for that is you wouldn't necessarily want a garage or a shed right along a street right away or next to a sidewalk. So that's the reason for it. The structures, there's a lot of different improvements that are proposed here. Some of the things like benches and rocks and little stumps aren't classified as structures. You can put landscaping interventions like that anywhere you want. The two items that we're reviewing for this application are there's an archway. It's about 8 feet tall that people could actually walk under. So that would be classified as a structure. And then the solar array that's about 6 feet tall, we would also treat that as a structure. So those two items are proposed in a corner side yard. Although it's functionally a rear yard, zoning code would require this review to allow it to be in between the building and the street.
Got it. And is the solar array, I mean, this is for anyone on the call, but is the solar array freestanding or is it on the roof of another structure?
It is freestanding.
Okay, got it. Okay, so separate and distinct from the archway. And so, I mean, Matt touched on this in his staff report and a bit in his testimony, but can anyone briefly for the record, just tell me why they think that this archway and this solar array is appropriate for the location that it is on the property?
So I can address a little bit of both, and I wouldn't mind if Charlie dug in here too. So the Cincinnati Zoo, being the greenest zoo in America, renewable energy is very important to us, and it is also important to our community, and it's an educational piece that we try to send out to the community. So every single one of our community projects has a solar array in some capacity. And somebody might make the argument that, well, is it really providing an electric offset that's going to be measurable by the school? For us, that's not necessarily important. What is important is to expose our children and our students to renewable energies, whether they're solar, geothermal, whatever they might be. We want that to be a part of their educational background from the get-go. So that for us is extremely important. And then David, was your question on the arch, I believe. So strictly speaking, as an architect, it is a ceremonial piece. It is something that the children can walk underneath. These rods or this archway will have grapevines that grow up into it. So it's really more ceremonial and fun, and it's just something for the kids to enjoy, honestly. And I do have an early concept sketch if it helps you to see that.
Yeah, I don't think that's, if you'd like to, you can certainly. I don't think that's necessary.
Very good.
I think I have a solid. I'm just sort of trying to go through some of the standards here that I have to look at and try to be particular for any community members that receive notice and are potentially watching this or are going to keep up with it. Just sort of going through some of those standards, and so it looks like these accessory structures are going to be located quite a significant distance from any public right of ways and any neighboring properties. Is that right? I need someone to answer out loud.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep.
Okay. So the potential adverse effects are non-existent or minimal. Then, would you agree with that? Anyway, I need someone to answer out loud.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's see. I think that's about it. Matt, is there anything else you want to provide in addition to your staff report on this?
I guess I'll outline why we have this process. I know there's a lot of people here that are, important and spend a lot of time on it. We appreciate that. The purpose of the conditional use is because it's zoned single family. There are times and places where maybe expanding a school or adding new accessory structures for a school could have a negative impact. This is a very large property. The proposed improvements are in the back, but if it were a smaller property, if there was an outdoor area for children and it was maybe right next to a neighbor's home, or if there was a school that was proposing to build a stadium, something much larger that could, really impact the neighborhood, we have this hearing process for things like that. We are happy to recommend approval of the conditional use for this application. We noted a little bit earlier about the accessory structures. Again, there could be times where you would not want a garage or a shed or something to be in between a home or a building in a residential district and the street. But here, because the street is set back so far, it's in functionally the back of the property, we would happily recommend approval of that variance as well.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Matt. So I'll give anyone else an opportunity to provide any testimony if they would like, or anyone to make any statements in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today. Okay, we'll leave it at that then. I want to thank everyone for their time and their testimony. I've had a chance to review the application materials, the staff report, and based on that and the testimony that I've heard here today, I'm going to approve the project. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. That decision typically takes about 2 weeks, as I said at the beginning. I believe someone mentioned that there were some time constraints here. Could you fill me in a little bit more on that? Anyone?
Sure, and others feel free to jump in. We have been holding off one of our primary contractors from Wigman Excavating and some others who are doing, would be doing some critical advance work ahead of that service day on the 27th. If we were to have to wait until and first of all, thank you very much for the review today, for the time, for the effort, and and for hearing the nature of the request and for the positive response. If we were still to hold off for 2 weeks, it could render a big chunk of that July 27th service day as impossible, quite honestly. So, and not to sound overly dramatic, but if we know that this is the outcome, if we have the ability to re-engage the contractors to be able to get them back to the site, to prepare it and make it ready so that our volunteers on the 27th can complete the projects ahead of the school year, I think everyone will benefit. So I'm curious if there could be any, as we wait for the final paperwork, David, if there's any way that we could still alert our contractors that they could return to the site.
Yeah, so essentially, I think where we're at in the process is that these 2 accessory structures cannot actually be built until there's a permit issued. I believe that the only thing holding that permit up now is this zoning approval. That permit for the zoning approval cannot be issued until that written decision of mine is finished. So if part of the plans for the 27th is having those accessory structures complete and installed, looking at the calendar here, 2 weeks would be the 26th. That probably would not work. If there are other things that the contractors can do, well, I don't know. I'm just trying to provide some context of how it actually works. I can certainly try to expedite this. Typically, what I do is I put these cases in the queue, and summer is our busiest time of year, and so I have quite a few right now. I have several hearings per week, and so I just sort of work through that queue, and how it typically works out is about 1 to 2 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer before these decisions get issued. If there is some significant economic or some other factors that require an expedited decision, that is certainly something that I try to do to help folks out. I don't want to jam you up. So if you're saying that receiving this on the 26th would prevent you guys from being able to take advantage of whatever's going to happen on the 27th, then I will certainly try to get this to you much sooner. But I'm curious if I got it to you next week, would that make a difference in terms of what you're trying to accomplish on the 27th? I guess I'm still not. Is it a community service event where people come in and try to help build it?
Yeah, so we'll have almost 200 volunteers on this site alone. So I think that's the little bit of the angst from our side. And Matt, I was wondering, so the two accessory structures that we keep talking about, one is the solar panel. Is the other the fence around it, or is it the hoop house? Is that the other accessory?
Or is it the archway?
Or the
archway.
Yeah,
The archway hoop house.
So the good news about the hoop house or this archway is that, David, if we got your approval, even those are literally just wires. So they're not even structural necessarily. So I feel confident that those could go up relatively easy. I think it's the solar panels that make us a little bit nervous. And April, I guess this is a question for you. You've applied for the permit, for the building permit. Have you?
I checked on it a couple days ago. It was still in the process, so okay. I don't know the status today, but I can check.
Okay.
So yeah, I can speak to that. Yeah, we I saw it. It was routed to me. I cannot actually go in and approve it from zoning until after the written decision is finalized. But as soon as we receive that written decision, I can sign off for zoning's approval. Sometimes there are other departments that are routed, so they will need to approve it as well. But as soon as that written decision is done, then I can sign off for zoning.
Matt, is there any way we can tell now if this is the last thing that's holding up the building permit?
Yes, if you'll give me 1 second. Let me look.
Okay, let's do that. And like I said, I can expedite this, but if you're just waiting for a permit and you're going to do the actual installation on the 27th, then you can do everything else leading up to the actual construction and installation.
Good.
Now, knowing that you are going to be approved and have that permit. But again, I want to double check, because from a zoning perspective, you're in good shape. But if there's anything else that's holding up the permit, you're going to want to address that immediately and get with those different departments.
I'd also like to apologize to you. We've been doing this for 10 years, and this is the first time we run into a zoning hiccup. So we're usually more prepared when these projects come along. This one just caught us off guard a little bit.
No problem at all. I totally understand that. And I would not consider you unprepared at all.
Nor would I.
Totally, yeah.
And
Totally
David, can you hear me now? That changed audio?
Yeah, I can. Hey.
Yeah. And just to be clear, so the actual installation, so the putting in of the solar array and the fence would not be permitted until the actual permit is in place. But all the groundwork, excavation, all the prep work, we can start tomorrow, basically, knowing this is approved, and we can move forward. Because some of the CPS or the planning items, some of the early stuff is just the groundwork prepping the site. So if we're good to do that, I think that does help us out. Being the permit expedited, again, will help us make sure that we can get this installed and ready to go. But just a clarification that we can do the prep work is I think, the first nod that we need for us to keep going. It sounds like that's a yes.
Yes, that's a yes. Once Matt comes back, I'd like him to, I don't know if he can confirm that as well. But
yeah,
if
so
they need to do some prep work, including digging, is that okay before the permit is issued, Matt?
I would say it's somewhat at your own risk, but I wouldn't have too much concern about the site work.
And
Matt, if you don't mind, this is a public hearing. Could you give me your phone number, and I can double check on that and call you after this?
Sure. Yeah. 513.
No, not Matt Lashide. I'm sorry, Matthew Ewing.
Yes, 630.
Yep.
292.
Yep.
3311.
Okay, I'll double check on that and get back to you. But my understanding is that, yeah, you can do everything up until you actually are doing the actual construction or installation of the accessory structure.
And David, if it helps, and we've done this before, we can certainly photograph the construction process. We can photograph the holes that are being dug and all that type of thing. So that's easy for us to do.
Okay. Matt, were you able to confirm anything there?
Yeah, so there's 3 departments that are routed on it. Metropolitan Sewer District is routed, I imagine, because there's digging. They've already signed off their approval on it. Zoning is routed on it for this reason. So once we hear the decision, we'll be able to sign off our approval. And then building plans is routed on it. They're routed on most every permit. The building plans examiner who's reviewing it, his name is Otto Bauer Nielsen. So it may be worth reaching out to the buildings and inspections department and requesting to speak with Otto about that. And the permit number is 2023 P05412. And building inspections can be reached at 513-352-3271.
So it has not gotten approval on that end from.
That's right.
From
They're
Otto.
still reviewing it.
Yeah. So I would get on that right away.
We can reach out.
Yeah. I don't know what's all entailed in getting that approval or how long that could take. So I would jump on that right away, and you can let him know that you have an approval pending in zoning, and that you have notice from us that it will be approved, and that you have these timelines. And Mr. Ewing, I will follow up with you on your specific question, and I will do everything I can to get this out to you all as soon as possible. I know that I will not be able to get it out by the end of this week, but early next week, I should be able to work through this and have this to you guys. So that will give you, anywhere from 7 to 9 days lead time before the 27th. So hopefully that, along with the fact that that it will be approved, will allow you guys to hit that deadline.
That would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's leave it at that. If you all have any more questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm sure Matt is also happy. Matt Lascheid is happy to answer questions as well. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks again. Good luck with the project. Sounds like excellent work. Have a